Hello, I'm Michael with Writer Sanctuary, and happy Valentine's Day. But today I want to talk about 7 real problems that you'll face as a freelance writer working from home. Now, working from home is a dream job for many people. However, not everybody takes into account all the different things that come with it. And some of these aspects can be far more difficult than working a traditional 9 to 5 job. And over the past 6 years, I've learned quite a bit about working for myself, including some of the major drawbacks of being my own boss. But if you're a new freelance writer or if you're thinking about it, you might want to pause and take a moment to realize just all the different things that come with the territory. So here are some of the more important facets that you need to be aware of. Of course, the following points are true regardless of what kind of freelancer you are. Now, these might not affect you personally. They are merely points that I have experienced since I quit my job at the school district 6 years ago. Now, number one is that it's easier to be distracted. Now, when working from home, it's incredibly easy to get sidetracked with other things. This could include things like Netflix, YouTube, or getting interrupted by family members. And when you're writing content for clients, these distractions can take away from your productivity. This is one of the reasons why I set up a schedule in the first place and tried to stick to it. If I can keep myself busy and away from those distractions, I make more money. Nowadays, it's not so much of an issue though. But when you first start, you can find yourself doing other things aside from writing. Think of it this way, every second that you're not creating content for a client is one you're not getting paid for. Number two is you're accountable only to yourself. Since you are your own boss, you don't have anybody else that you have to answer to other than yourself. Well, that is, unless you have a husband or a wife. But in reality, it's all on you. There's nobody over your shoulder watching your productivity. No one is watching the clock wondering how long you've been on break. Unfortunately, this also means that there's nobody there to compliment you on a job well done. Well, aside from your clients if they choose to do so. But as a freelance writer working from home, you need to find ways to keep yourself motivated and focused. And if you're a procrastinator like myself, this can be incredibly difficult to overcome. Number three is managing your own finances. And as a freelance writer, you have to pay pretty close attention to all your different finance needs. I'm not just talking about making sure the bills are paid. Things like taxes, insurance, retirement, and other liabilities need to be addressed. You don't get paid vacations or sick leave, which means you have to stash away a lot of money if you want to take a day off at some point. You'll need to cover the initial expense, and then you need to cover what you're going to lose when you're not writing. I know it's easy to melt through your income and not put anything away. For example, what would happen to me today if I were to break my right arm? I have a bit saved up in my investment portfolio which could cover some of the expenses, but in the end I'm not really sure if it's going to be enough. Now in a traditional job, a lot of these expenses are taken care of you by the HR and payroll department. As a freelance writer from home, you have to do all this yourself. Number four is the lack of real social interaction. Now, one of the biggest issues I've had throughout the last 6 years, especially as of late, is not having that social interaction with other people. It's getting to the point where I'm debating on getting a part-time job just so I get out of the house and be sociable. Now, many freelance writers will spend an incredible amount of time sitting at home. For me, I work and play at my desk. And I have a few people that I chat with online, but it's not the same as that face-to-face interaction that you should get. You can get pretty lonely when you're a homebody like myself. I know there's a lot of people out there that can easily manage this aspect. They probably get done with writing for the day and go out for the night. But for others like me, a lack of being social can get quite depressing. I mean, really, a conversation with my cat can only go so far. That brings me to number 5, which is cabin fever. Now, there's times I don't necessarily want to interact with other people, I just want to get out of the house. And right now, there are days when I simply don't even step outside my front door. Now, this is something I'm working on. One of my biggest problems is I just don't know where to go or what to do. I tell you, there are times where I get extremely tired of being tethered to my desk. Number 6 is a general lack of exercise. Now, one of the biggest things that contributed to my decline in my health a few years ago was sitting at my desk day in and day out. I really didn't get up and do much outside of writing content on TextBroker and playing a few video games. Nowadays I work pretty hard on keeping myself alive, but in the beginning I was degrading quite rapidly. I also had a ton of emotional and mental problems going on at the same time, but the lack of physical activity didn't make any of those issues any better. And if you're not paying attention, you can do quite a bit of damage to yourself as a freelancer sitting at your desk for 16 hours a day. And the 7th thing that's actually affecting me right now is that it's far more difficult to finance anything. As a freelancer, it's kind of hard to use your credit, whether you're trying to buying a car, renting an apartment. Most places today want to see that you have a regular form of income. Now, luckily, there are some places out there that'll let me use my PayPal deposit printout as proof of income. And some are okay with last year's tax return. However, there's a lot of businesses out there that will not give you a second look if you're a freelance writer. For instance, I've been trying forever to get a credit card so I can build onto my credit. But not a single one of these companies will give me a credit card because I don't have a guaranteed form of income. And if you know of one, feel free to let me know. I'd love to look at it. But at the moment, trying to live a normal life as a freelance writer is exceptionally difficult when you can't use your credit or your income for anything. I know there's quite a few of you out there that can probably handle all this without too much of a problem. For me, however, it's been one hell of an adventure. I've had to change how I think, including the views I have of myself. So anyway, what have been some of your greatest hurdles working from home? Leave in the comments down below. For myself, I think the biggest problem I've had is keep myself focused. I can be quite scatterbrained sometimes, and I can jump from one thing to another pretty quickly. And it's not always the most productive. But if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you want to learn more about Text Broker, WordPress, Wattpad, or freelance writing, hit the subscribe button. I try to make videos every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And don't forget to hit the bell to turn on notifications. I think that's going to do it for me today. I'll see you next week.